What's going on, guys? It's Eric again, back with another video. So, guys, it looks like Kevin Warren, he's the commissioner for the Big Ten, has said, we're going to backtrack here a little bit. We're going to actually play college football. Now, as you guys know, Kevin Warren, he has said the Big Ten was going to possibly cancel the season, but first they were going to postpone it till the spring. And now it looks like the pressure from everyone, from coaches, players, and parents of players, and even kind of one lawsuit coming into play here to say they want to invalidate what Kevin Warren had said. Looks like that pressure's gotten to him a little bit, and they're going to try to play college football. Looks like they're going to, the earliest target date would be Thanksgiving, but based on what the article I'm reading when they talked to Barry Alvarez, looks like it's probably going to be the beginning of the year, which would probably be right after New Year's. Now, how does that impact a lot of things here? Before I kind of get into that, I want to kind of bring us up to date and kind of go back through the timeline here and kind of give us a little bit of perspective here a little bit. So, all when this coronavirus came out, I'm not going to kind of go into that down that rabbit hole. You guys kind of know my feelings on that, but Kevin Warren kind of came out and said, "Look, we're not going to play. We're going to possibly cancel the season, but it looks like we're kind of look at the spring to kind of restart stuff." And this kind of started some conversations, and the Pac-12 kind of went with the Big Ten on this. And even before that, you had UConn actually cancel their season, but theirs I think was more or less for financial reasons because they've been having a hard time over there. Apparently, what I've read and what I've heard on ESPN is they were having financial issues with their football being in Division One and kind of trying to keep up. I guess kind of more or less is what it is. They had financial reasons, so they kind of went and they said, nope, we're not going to have college football this season. And I think it was more based, like I said, I think it was more based on financials and money more than it was the coronavirus stuff. But they went ahead and they did that. Then you had the MAC say that they were going to cancel their season. And then the Big Ten and the Pac-10 followed here. And then a couple of days later, you had the Pac-10, the ACC, and the Big 12 say, we're going to actually go through with the season. We're going to see how that's kind of going to come on here. Now, you guys all know about Erod, and I know I'm kind of going into the baseball point here real quick, but he had the coronavirus, and then he had a heart condition, which I can't remember what the heart condition is. I didn't look it up here. I did an earlier video on that, so if you guys kind of want to watch that, go ahead. I'll probably go ahead and put a card. I think it's right up here. I'll put a card up here on it if I can find the video, number one. Anyway, kind of going back to this. So he had that heart condition. I think that was a big thing for the Pac-10 or the Pac-12. I say the Pac-10, but it's really the Pac-12 and the Big Ten saying, hey, we're looking at this from a data and science point of view. And at that point, that was the latest science that it came out. We don't want to put our players or coaches, our referees, and any medical personnel or anybody that's kind of got to go through this behind the scenes to expose themselves to this thing and possibly get sick and maybe, worst case scenario, pass away. So that was probably their leading decision on it. But you had the other three conferences saying, nope, we're going to go ahead and play here. Now you had coaches, at least from the Big Ten. I don't know about the Pac-12. You had the Big Ten kind of coaches like Ryan Day, the Penn State coach, I think it's James Franklin, and you had Scott, goodness, I can't remember his last name, from Nebraska, the coach of Nebraska, kind of saying, we're really heavily criticizing the Big Ten about canceling the season based on what they've seen down in the South here. And the Nebraska coach is actually looking to find teams to play for his squad to kind of come on and be like, look, we're going to continue to play college football regardless of what the Big Ten says. And then that kind of blew up to this big thing. Hey, is Nebraska trying to secede and kind of goes to some other conference just based on all this stuff, which I kind of thought was a little bit silly because I think that Nebraska, to me, kind of went away from the Big 12 into the Big 10 for kind of money purposes. But that's another story for another time. Then you kind of come into play here where a lawsuit kind of came out here. Now I can't remember where the lawsuit is. And I read the article. I just can't remember what the verbiage actually said or who put it in. But they kind of put it in, not really an injunction or anything like that. They put a lawsuit against the Big Ten to more or less to restart the Big Ten season. Then kind of Kevin Warren kind of came back out and he said, hey, we're going to go ahead and try to get this season in. And now we're right here to today, which has been a couple of days ago since this article's probably came out. But it looks like they're going to the earliest they would restart the season is Thanksgiving, with more likely probably at the beginning of the year. Looks like, based on what Barry Alvarez has said. Now you're looking at indoor stadiums where it looks like they're looking at Ford Field, or possibly even all three venues. You have the Minnesota Dome, or Minnesota's, well, I was going to say Minnesota Dome, but Minnesota now has a open stadium in there, so they don't have the Metrodome anymore. You have Lucas Oil Stadium, which is an indoor stadium, and you have Ford Field, which is an indoor stadium. And I don't know, maybe they're looking at other venues here too to get this in here. And kind of that's where we're really at right now, is the talk of getting the Big Ten football season back in. Now, the Pac-12, I have not heard anything on. I don't know if they're kind of going with what the Big Ten says, and they're going to try to reopen their season. I don't know how this is all going to go out here, and the article doesn't even speak to that here. My own personal opinion is, how is this going to impact, number one, how is this going to impact college basketball? Because even college basketball is pretty big for ESPN, the Big Ten Network, CBS, ABC, NBC, all those Fox Sports. How is that going to impact that season, or that sport, college basketball? I'm a big college basketball fan, so I don't even know how this is going to impact it. Maybe it doesn't impact it at all. Maybe they say, look, college football goes on Saturdays like we've always done, and the college basketball goes any other day, the other 6 days. I don't know how that's all going to kind of plan out, but you got that to do. How is it going to impact the postseason and the bowl structure and your national championship for this thing? Even in basketball and even in your other sports, how is that going to impact those things? Now, maybe not track and field or anything like that, but you got college baseball to consider here. How's that? And you guys know that I don't really do a whole lot of college baseball on here. When Michigan made their title run, I kind of focused on it, but you got to take that into consideration too. And softball, college softball, how's that taken into consideration here? Really, the big thing is the money that's going to come into play here. How are you going to do your TV? How you got to talk to the TV people, you got to talk to the radio guys, you got to talk to the referees, because I'm sure the referees aren't full-time employees, they're part-time employees that kind of have their own jobs. So how are you going to coordinate all that stuff around? There's just a lot of stuff that we're not really considering here to get this college football season to kind of come back around, if they're going to go with a late start to the season. Now, you got the three other ones, the ACC, the SEC, and the Big 12. I don't think you're gonna run into those considerations down there. But with that being said, up here with the Big 10, you got a lot of logistics to kind of work out here. I don't know how this is all going to work out here, guys. I'm really interested to see how this impacts, really, if they're going to start late, how does this impact college basketball? That's kind of my big thing. And how does it impact the postseason? Those are my two big things I kind of want to see, how, if they have a late start, which obviously it looks like they're going to have a late start. That's if Kevin Warren doesn't kind of backtrack and say, look, I'm backtracking, we're going to kind of go back to the season. But I really can't see him really doing that at this point, being at the pressure that he's on, more or less for probably money than it is anything else. You're losing a lot of revenue by canceling the season, and probably possibly even postponing it to where they're going to postpone it to now. But I don't know here, guys. Maybe there's some other stuff I'm not considering here either. That there's a lot of logistics. How does this impact the postseason? How does this impact getting people and refereeing and the bowl structure? How does it do that? Because you're taking at least two conferences out of play here. How does it really impact the bowl structure? I really haven't heard anything about that here either. We're just going to have to kind of a wait and see kind of approach on here. And when are you going to do a hard start to say, look, we're going to restart the season here, or kind of what's going to happen here? But there's a lot, like I said, guys, I'm trying to think of talking points to think about. There's just a lot of stuff that we're probably, as sports fans, kind of sitting on our couches or sitting in our chairs, we're not really considering that the conference has got to actually consider. Maybe even the universities really even have to consider here too. How does this impact kids kind of coming back into the classes here, if they're doing online learning or if they're doing in-class instruction? here in Michigan, a lot of them have an option on here. Now I don't know if a lot of options are for other states. I would hope so, but our governor has kind of leaned towards, hey, do the online instruction because of the coronavirus. Now she's been pretty, and I don't mean to get into any political kind of thing here. I'll just touch on it here real quick. She's been kind of one of the ones that kind of been a real stickler about this, and she's kind of not kind of reopening the season, even though tremendous pressure from the citizens here to actually tell her to restart, and she's just sticking to her guns. She's just gonna say, "Look, I'm not gonna reopen just because everyone wants to reopen here." But you got like a lot of government stuff here, guys. That's another aspect of it. We don't know how each of the governments are gonna look at this, look at sports, and say, "Hey, you guys can do it," or maybe not, or maybe there's regulations or executive orders that have came into place to impact this as well. There's, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that has to kind of come into play and kind of align right to get college football or even any kind of sport really to come out and say, look, we're actually going to play, and this is the structure that we're going to use. But let me know what you guys think. Kind of write down into the comments, guys. I really would like to know what you guys think about all this stuff. It's just been a kind of a crazy year, guys, with the coronavirus stuff that's kind of going on here. A lot of people say that since the election is going to determine who the winner is, and then the coronavirus is going to be gone within a couple of weeks. But anyway, that's a political thing, and that's another story for another time. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you guys like that the Big Ten's coming back? I really haven't heard anything from the Pac-12 about if their season's going to restart. I know a lot of people from the SEC area, probably this isn't really news to you guys. I mean, really, how does it impact the bowl structure? How does it impact revenue? And how does it impact it for a national champion here? Does it kind of dwindle it? Or if there even if there is going to be a national championship game played, or even a playoff structure at all, how does that impact everything? Guys, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Also, please consider hitting that subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell notification so you guys get more videos just like this one. Going to be interesting to see how this kind of unfolds here, guys. But I really would like to know how this impacts other sports, how it impacts the postseason for college football and other sports like college basketball. All right, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I really do hope to see you guys again soon. Deuces. Take care, guys.